when you say that there's like a lack of leadership and a lack, there are a lot of managers, but a lack of leadership, maybe you could dive a little bit deeper into what you see is missing within the industry right now as it relates to true leadership and what true leadership looks like in your mind.
Yeah. So ever since I've been in the industry, and I believe this was probably true before, right? So when I started in 2005, my first experience of a quote unquote manager was a guy who was really good at doing loans, who lived in Miami, and then they opened an office in Santa Monica, and that's where I was. And he became the new manager of that office. He had zero qualification. He had never led a person before. He had never managed a person before. All he did was just do loans at a high level. He was good at relationship building. He was good at selling loans. And for some reason, that company and most companies believe that, well, if they're good at doing loans, we can put them in a position of managing and leading others to replicate their success. But it takes real training. Like, there's some qualities that you can have that are transferable into leadership, but in my experience, not a lot. I grew up with a lot of confidence, mainly because of my background in sports and in a lot of different martial arts and boxing and wrestling, right? So like I had some inherent confidence from that, but in the business world, I wasn't extremely confident. And so to lead other people to a better place and to listen to them, to have empathy, to have vision, to put yourself last, right? To disconnect the outcome from the conversation. Those aren't inherently, these aren't natural things, right? Like naturally, we are selfish individuals, right? Because we want to stay alive, we want to thrive. It's kind of in our DNA. So we have to learn how to be a leader. And I've had to, obviously, L360 has been massive in that. I tell everybody that wants to be a good leader, that is just the absolute best program to go through for it. Done a lot of stuff with Jocko Willink in his program. One of my favorite books is Extreme Ownership. That's something that is not natural to me. It never has been. So I think that the mortgage industry just needs to do a much better job of leadership training as a whole, because we just keep promoting high producing mortgage professionals to these roles. And we wonder why we're not getting, why there's a lot of turnover, why people are always trying to go to other companies, and, why you don't see, there hasn't really been one or even a few really great companies that have kind of really risen and stayed there, right? It's always a lot of fluctuation. So I'm hoping that we can help the industry see a need for leadership training, mentorship, coaching, because if our industry really wants to survive and do well, I think we need that most importantly.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's that statement. I don't know if it's from Simon Sinek or not, but it's, a leader is not responsible for the outcome of things. A leader is responsible for leading the people who are responsible for the outcome of things. And I think that that's or some version of that. I may have hacked that up a little bit, but I mean, when you think about it, it's like, it is like you said, an entirely different skill set. And I think that there's an inherent frustration that a lot of leaders have when they make that transition from being, a great producer of loans into now having to be responsible for, empowering those underneath them to produce loans. And there's a great difference between the skill of being that great doer and being the person that can lead people to do at a higher level. And there isn't, you're right, a whole lot of training involved in that. So what would you say you've learned are some of the skills that are in need of being trained up to be a more effective leader in the mortgage space?
I think active listening is a really good one, right? Like being able to really hear someone, right, and put yourself in their shoes. That was something I was just not great at, right? Because if I was good at something, I would tell someone, okay, just do this, and I would expect them to automatically just go do that thing, right? But then if they gave me feedback, I would almost just always look for my own answer, like to like, well, no, I can fix that, I can solve that, as opposed to like empathizing with them, really understanding where they're coming from. A lot of the stuff around, genius zone work, fear setting, right? The stuff that you've taught a lot of us, right? Great leaders help people manage their emotions, right? Because that's in large part what holds people back, right? It's fear, it's, anger, it's frustration, it's
Lack of confidence.
lack of confidence, right? Feeling less than. So what I've really focused on from a leadership perspective, and look, I still have a long way to go to be considered a great leader, but the thing that I have tapped into is I can help people see a vision of themselves in a way that they can't currently see. Right? Like I can find the best potential in someone and kind of hold up a mirror for that person and see like, this is what you could do. Right? This is what you're capable of. You may not see it yet because you haven't gone through that journey. Right. But I have, I've gone through it and I know what it takes. And I know, the challenges and the pitfalls and the, struggles and hiring teammates and understanding how to grow and scale a team and dealing with, realtor partners and being at the same time a good father and husband, or, wife or mother. And a lot of times, I really wish I would have had that person in my life. It wasn't really until L360 in 2017 until, I was already, quote unquote, successful from a business perspective, but I had a lot of holes that needed to be filled. And that helped me in a lot of different ways, and then I think partnership is really important. Managing ego, right? Being able to be business partners with, people like Danny Harani and Chris Ledley and then, Josh Metal. Like I was able to learn so much from all of these great leaders that you have to experience to really learn.